Hey, where do you think you're going? Medicine? Oh, you mean you're the same as everyone else that comes through here? If you want medicine, we only take cash. This ain't a charity. The Mutual Aid Society sets the price. It might be different from Dr. Vash and his handouts, but it's a darn sight cheaper than that clinic. Well, are you buying or not? Spit it out. I don't... Wait a minute. Your clothes. Are you friends with that doctor woman? Get lost, now. If you're a friend of that woman, then you're not welcome here.
Wait. What about our medicine? We've been waiting.
Get lost, all of you. Save your breath and come back.
That medicine seller sure closed up shop in a hurry. I should head back and report to Natasha.
Get lost, now. If you're a friend of that woman, then you...
There's inspiration in every glance and every breeze.
I've taken care of your wounds. I'm running short. Don't pretend you didn't hear that, Hook. I'm talking to you.
Hook wasn't the one that caused trouble. It was those bad guys. You traitor.
Well, passing the buck is one way to handle this. That's enough for now. I'll say this one last time, Hook. If you... The boss of the moles should stick to her word.
Thank you again. If it weren't for you and Dr. Natasha, Hook and I probably would have been in big trouble. Well, a few days ago, I found a geomarrow vein using a vein detector. And then those vagrants heard about it and accused me of being a traitor. They believe the mining team could not agree with that, of course.
Daddy? Are we short on money?
My poor child. Daddy is old now. People say I'm selfish, think I'm a traitor. But it doesn't matter to me. All you need...
Daddy...
Forget about it. Since I've got the money from the mining team, I have nothing. It's just a shame that I lost my vein detector. It's an ancient relic that I found in a mine. People say it's a device that mining teams use. I often carried it around looking for a fresh claim. Perhaps, anyway, I guess I don't need the detector anymore.
Hook seems to be giving me a look like, I want to talk to you outside the clinic now. So that's why people call eyes the windows to the soul.
So the Mutual Aid Society found Vash's research results. And now they're selling this so-called wonder. Any organization doing something like this is interested in more than... As a doctor, I don't accept that. I'm responsible for their well-being. What Vash left behind is nothing more than reagents and experimental byproducts. I warned the patients countless times, but seems like they had their... I'm guessing the patients you met weren't exactly singing my praises. I don't blame you. After everything you heard, I'm grateful you came back to find me. If you're curious about Vash's wonder medicine, you should ask some of the patients in the clinic.
Some people say that Dr. Vash was a saint who came from the overworld. People's doctor. That's Just what people who've bought into the myth like to say. The hard truth is that we were just his test subjects. Of course, I can't control what anyone else.
The medicine Vash left behind? I know Dr. Natasha's here, but I have to tell it like it is. Vash had zero medical ethics. He may have had the capability, but he didn't use it to help anyone. Whenever I went to see him, he never even asked about my illness. He just if it were you, would you have taken that medicine?
I still haven't worked out how to convey it to you. The issues surrounding Vash. My relationship with him. I'm guessing you've heard a lot of different opinions on Vash. What do you make of him? I want you to go and visit another patient, a victim of the Wonder Medicine. I want you to, once you've understood her situation, come back and tell me.
Who are you? Who? And... where's my husband? And where are they? You don't know? Where?
Come over here, child. It's best. That poor lady. Yes. Before her family, her husband and child caught in order to try and rid themselves of the ailment once and for all, but some kind of two began to suffer terribly, such that death from that moment on, she became, as you see, just unlucky. Oh, as far as I'm concerned, those medicine dealers are making, talking about.
Did you speak to her? By the look on your face, I'm assuming you've come to Be it Vash or the Mutual Aid Society, forces like that can take full advantage of the typical underworld state of mind. Let me tell you a story. There was once a brilliant overworld doctor with unmatched pharmaceutical skill. The doctor was set on developing a medicine that would steel the human body against the cold. He named his research project Blizzard Immunity. But his research met with obstruction time and time again, the biggest factor being a lack of test subjects. Tampering with the human immune system carries huge risk, and nobody in the overworld was willing to submit themselves to such experiments. As such, the doctor got in touch with his sister in the underworld, claiming that he wanted to support the medical effort below ground. Naturally, his sister was overjoyed. After all, as far as medicine was concerned, her brother had always been the standard she'd strive to attain. She brought her brother underground and entrusted him with her clinic and laboratory. I think you know what comes next. Issuing free medicine to the needy was just Vash's way of conducting experiments on his test subjects. On some level, his reagents were able to alleviate the patient's suffering, but nothing more. They would forget their pain for a while and neglect their regular treatment plans. The result? Patients with mild illness would attribute their recovery to the so-called wonder medicine, while patients with serious illness would quickly deteriorate, and sometimes die. I cannot accept that their fate was simply the result of misfortune or risk. That's why I want you to help me recover all. Thank you. This will be hard for the people that have come to rely on the wonder medicine, but it's up to us to remove this false hope. You mustn't hesitate. Recover every last reagent that Vash left behind. I'll take responsibility for the consequences. Don't worry about that. Go. I'll be waiting for the good news.
Stop right there. No one's allowed up ahead. Who are you trying to kid? You're that clinic woman's lackey. Did you think the Mutual Aid Society didn't have its own intel? She's after our medicine. Men, look lively and...
This song's for you.
Turn it up. Who invited you?
That'll take more.
Let's be friends.
Keep up.
Oh, let's see.
The best is yet to come.
Well, look who we have here. Your reputation precedes you, outsider. I didn't take you for a bandit and a thief. Oh, just passing through. And our guards decided to just beat themselves into submission, I suppose. You listen here. I'm the president of the Complex Illness Mutual Aid Society. The medicine we hold here is lifeblood for many of our members. Are you sure you want to deprive them of that? Those poor patients. Along comes a life-saving wonder medicine only to be snatched away by a shameless bandit like you. The underworld is full of sickness. What would happen if we left it all to that clinic to treat? My Mutual Aid Society has relieved that doctor of patients at the end of the road. Shouldn't she be? Seems like you are quite bent on dismantling our operations, aren't you? Fine, seeing as you came all this way, it'd be rude not to give you the opportunity. Men, seize the medicine thief.
Pretty good crowd today.
Turn it up. No manners, huh?
Ready to lose yourself? You can fight it or rock with it.
Time for a shot. That's better.
Ready to jam. This song's for you.
Scared yet? Huh?
Time for the Let's rock.
Blast it! What did we ever do to you? Why are you taking away our moneymaker?
Moneymaker? So you admit it then? You're not in this to save lives, you're in it to get rich.
What are you doing here? Oh, as if we didn't have enough trouble already.
Selling fake medicine with false kindness. You should have expected trouble to find you sooner or later. I have a responsibility to protect the well-being of my patients. Or to put it another way, I must eradicate any and all threats to them.
You can't save everyone. The underworld is teeming with sickness. How could you possibly pull it off?
You're right. I can't save everyone alone. But if I must, I would sacrifice food and sleep to treat them. The debt that Vash owes to the underworld rests with me. All I can do is help everyone to the best of my ability. To the very end.
So stubborn. In that sense, you're no different from your crazy brother.
I'll take that as a compliment. Thank you. Your actions today have saved many underworld families. I'll find a way to dispose of Vash's leftover reagents. Next time the Mutual Aid Society wants to whip up a quack cure, they'll be out of luck. Let's go back to town.
The mining?
There's inspiration in every glance and every breeze.
Uh-oh. It looks like the patients have surrounded Natasha. Let's hear what they're saying.
What are you saying, Doctor? The wonder medicine is out of supply?
Correct. That medicine is a wolf in sheep's clothing. Wildfire has cut off the supply. Your ailments need rational, scientific treatment. Relying on pseudo-medicines will only worsen your condition.
Rational and scientific, huh? The way I see it, you're just...
How dare you speak to Dr.
Ma'am, please, think for a moment. How can you still be siding with her? That wonder
I understand your anger, but as your doctor, I ask you to trust my judgment. I will find a way to access more medical resources and help you through your struggles. If I must, I'll get help from the surface.
The surface.
Have some respect for Dr. Natasha.
If it's respect she wants, she better find a replacement for the wonder medicine fast. If not, I'll tell everyone about how she set up Dr. Vash. I'm out of here.
Oh, you're here. I apologize. That must have made for uncomfortable viewing. Don't let your emotions get the better of you. If I were in his shoes, I might well have had the same reaction. Now I need to focus on treating the patients and dispelling their doubts. Let's leave it for now. I'll feel a lot better once I've gotten rid of this mess that Vash left us. Now's as good a time as any to tell you Vash's whole story. If there's anything you want to know, don't hesitate to ask. No, but I actually grew up in the orphanage. It wasn't until I was adopted by an overworld family that life changed for me. My adoptive mother always saw me as her own flesh and blood, and Vash loved me like a sister. That is while we were still young. My adoptive parents belonged to a prominent medical family. As kids, we were exposed... He was gentle and introverted. But when it came to work, he could be absurdly obsessive, like a completely different person. Whenever I made a mistake in an experiment, he'd bite my head off. And then a while later, he'd apologize and comfort me. He was conflicted in that way. I didn't know he had leftover reagents in Rivet Town. I was shocked when you told me. If you fail to make a clean break with the past creeps up on you. That's a long story. Ever since he was little, Vash had always wanted to develop a medicine called blizzard immunity. He saw the human body's vulnerability to cold as a disease, and wanted to cure it so that humanity could survive the eternal freeze. If he succeeded, people would be able to leave Belobog and rebuild their homes in the snow plains. To be honest, I never understood how he'd achieve that blizzard immunity. But I do admire that vision and perseverance. I always chose to believe him, ever since I was a kid. I knew his research in the overworld wasn't going well. I used to write to him and ask him to come down and stay with the kids in the orphanage for a while. I thought it might help take his mind off his research. But I was too young to know what long-term frustration could do to a person. It changed him in a terrible way. During his stay in the underworld, he met patients affected by fragmentum corrosion with mild symptoms. Compared with non-patients, their bodies reacted differently to hot and cold. And that fascinated Vash. He began to simulate mild fragmentum corrosion, thinking that it could lead to breakthroughs in developing blizzard immunity. Those reagents of his aren't cure-alls for critical illness. That doesn't exist. Vash made the reagents to mitigate the suffering of his patients in the short term. But behind my back, he had been doling out the reagents to residents who were kept in the dark. When it finally struck me that something was wrong, his terrible research had already turned him into a madman. I trusted Vash with all my heart. Funny, isn't it? and pathetic. When his experiments were exposed, I spent a long time. This was shortly before the underworld was sealed off. There were hardly any. In the end, Oleg suggested that we banish him and permanently deny him access. Had his victims found out the truth, Vash would have been torn to pieces by furious underworlders. I hope so. That Oleg and I took Vash to the over. His figure gradually disappeared into the snow curtain. Forgive me. I'm not. Let's call it a day. Thank you for cleaning up the mess my brother left behind. Here, for your trouble.
If a space telescope were deployed at this location on the Express, it would... feels... I sure do. You know, I was racking my brains before my thesis might just be related to the Express. I hope you'll agree to be... Of course, there are... Oh, that's not a bad idea. I've been on the Express before, but looking forward to it.